This 8-year-old boy had just witnessed a street shooting. The murderer was Sonny, the gang boss in the area. The police found the boy and asked him to identify the murderer, but the boy hesitated and did not identify him because he admired Sonny. No one could have imagined that this incident would change the boy's life. Today we are going to talk about a gangster film, directed and starred by veteran actor Robert De Niro, A Bronx Tale. The boy's name is Calogero, and he has a pure heart. His father is an honest and hard-working bus driver, and his mother is a thrifty and virtuous housewife. A family of 3 lives in a community in the Bronx, an Italian area where all the neighbors are originally from Sicily. Many movie fans know that the Italian island of Sicily is rich in 3 things: lemons, beauties, and the mafia. Among them, the underworld has the highest output and is famous in the United States. Therefore, there are many gangsters in the neighborhood where Calogero lives, and the most powerful gang leader is Sonny. Boys have been exposed to gang members' tyranny on the streets since they were young. Instead of hating them, they inexplicably yearn for gangs and often get together to imitate the behavior of gang members. Probably because girls have loved beauty since childhood, while boys have been born to worship power. Calogero admires Sonny the most. He especially likes to imitate Sonny's behavior. Sometimes he will even look at Sonny and say to himself obsessively, "No one is more stylish than you, my Sonny boss." But his father is strict. Calogero was warned to stay away from the bar downstairs because that bar was a gang base. So Calogero never had the opportunity to come into contact with Sonny. Of course, he was a little kid, and the boss didn't take him seriously. But fate is always unpredictable. On this day, when Calogero was imitating Sonny on the street, 2 cars seemed to have an argument over a parking space. A man got out of his car angrily and smashed the window of the other man's car. Gang boss Sonny seemed to have some trouble with the attacker, so he shot the man over the head with a gun and killed him in the street. The entire process was seen by Calogero. Before Calogero could recover, his father dragged him back upstairs. The police arrived soon and asked Calogero to come downstairs and identify the murderer. The suspects lined up in front of the bar, including Sonny. After Calogero hesitated, he chose to cover his dream guy. He was elated and very excited about the policeman he had deceived, but his father, Lorenzo, commented that his behavior was shielding criminals. After hearing what his father said, Calogero felt that he had done something wrong. Why didn't he choose to be honest and abide by the law? Dad comforted him. Reflection is a good thing. People have to bow their heads under the roof, and sometimes it is not a sin to stay away from right and wrong for yourself. Many things will naturally be understood when you grow up. Dad often talks about some life philosophies. What he told Calogero the most was, the greatest tragedy in life is a waste of talent. He often encouraged Calogero, who loves baseball, that as long as he works hard, he can become a baseball player in the future. Calogero was full of enthusiasm and full of confidence in the future. Sonny, the gang boss, was very grateful for the help of Lorenzo and his son at critical moments, and would send him a friendly smile from time to time. One time, Sonny simply extended an olive branch and gave Lorenzo a good job. He could earn $150 a week just by delivering letters for them, which was far more than Lorenzo's income from driving a bus. The philosophy of life of the mafia boss is, if you respect the Godfather will treat you well. Let's make friends, get closer, bond the relationship, and make more friends and fewer enemies. But Lorenzo is cautious, not seeking wealth, but just stability. He declined Sonny's kindness on the spot, but Sonny knew how to repay his kindness. Since he couldn't repay Lorenzo, he sent someone to his son to invite Calogero and treat him politely. Sonny is easy to get along with, just like making friends. Learn about Calogero's interests and hobbies. When he learned that Calogero was a Yankees fan, he was aggrieved and regretful that the star Mickey lost the game. Sonny asked him, "Mickey's annual income is hundreds of thousands of dollars. How much does your father earn per year? If your father went to Mickey to ask for money, would he give your family money to spend?" Calogero was stunned by the question. Probably not. Sonny continued to express his pragmatic philosophy. Since Mickey doesn't care about you, what's the point of you caring about him so much? With this change of logic, Calogero's perception was refreshed. He asked Sonny again in a childlike manner, "Did you kill someone that day because he was fighting for a parking space?" Sonny's answer was the same as his father's. "When you grow up, you will naturally understand." From then on, Calogero and Sunny became friends. Sunny allowed Calogero to have time away from his parents and sneak into the bar to work odd jobs to earn some pocket money. Once, Sunny had a sudden idea and asked Calogero to throw dice for him. Unexpectedly, he won more than a dozen dice in a row. Sunny won a lot of money that day, and she couldn't help but regard this destined child as a noble person in her life, and even told everyone that Calogero was her child. Sunny devoted his heart to imparting sociology knowledge to him. He often said, "Working people are all idiots. Don't care too much about others, because no one cares about you." Calogero also feels very lucky that he studied in the best school in the Bronx, Street University. He received two kinds of education, one from society and one from school, so he was twice as smart as other children. However, his father soon discovered that he had a godfather, because Lorenzo found a huge sum of $600 in Calogero's drawer. He couldn't withstand the pressure from his parents, so Calogero told him the whole story. The big money was earned through his skills in the bar, and the job opportunity was given to him by his godfather Sunny. Lorenzo was furious after hearing this, went straight to the gang base, and dumped a huge amount of money in front of Sunny. "We can't accept the money. Please stop messing with us." Sunny explained nicely, "I'm teaching your son to be good. Go to school and get ahead. Never let him astray." Lorenzo retorted, "The important thing is not what you say, but what he saw and learned." Calogero has changed a lot during this time. He threw away all the baseball cards he had saved up for many years. I asked him why, and he said, "Because worshipping stars cannot be used as money." After Sunny's value installation, Calogero no longer longed for a simple baseball dream. His mind was filled with the desire for money and power, and he had foreseen the catalog of the laws of reality in advance. Sunny was very happy to hear this. It seems that he taught well. This kid is also a teachable kid. Sunny proposed, "Bro, let me educate your child, and I will treat him as my own." Lorenzo sternly refused. "This is impossible. The good cannot coexist with the bad." Lorenzo did not hesitate to break up with Sunny. Don't let his son go astray. He angrily took his son and went back. But when Calogero found out that all his hard-earned tips had been given away by his biological father, he immediately cried and made a fuss, wanting to go to his godfather to get the money back. Lorenzo was angry and slapped his son for the first time. He also told his son seriously that they were gangsters, not good people, and that it was only right for him to be as hard-working and down-to-earth as his father, and to work hard. And he told his son what he often said, "When you grow up, you will understand." In this way, Lorenzo and Sunny no longer have anything to do with each other. But Calogero did not listen to his father's words, alienate Sunny. Whenever he had a chance, he would sneak into the bar to listen to his godfather's teachings. 8 years passed, and the year came to 1968. Calogero has grown into a young man. Sunny's power has grown to a higher level, and their friendship has remained as good as ever. But Calogero's relationship with his father became increasingly acute. His father wants to control Calogero to avoid going astray, but Calogero does not recognize his father's hard-working values. What he yearns for is a life like Sunny. Calogero formed a gang with a group of hooligans and wandered the streets all day, not for money, but simply to prove that he was not a good person. After staying with these hooligans for so long, Calogero's brain was no longer functioning properly. A friend owed him $20, and Calogero often used violence to get rid of him. Fortunately, he would tell Sunny whatever he had in mind. The godfather immediately scolded Calogero and explained to him, "Violence sometimes does not solve problems. Why not think about it this way? You only spent $20 to get rid of a friend with bad character. This deal is a bargain, so no need to worry about it. Time is limited. Don't waste it on these unimportant people. Worry about the people who really matter, your family, and your valuable friends." With this solution, Calogero suddenly understood. Moreover, Sunny also suggested that Calogero should read more books when he has time. His business philosophy was all learned from books. When he was in prison, his favorite thinker was Machiavelli, who coined the word achievable, which benefited him throughout his life. For example, with his financial resources, he could live a leisurely life in a villa near the sea. But why has he always lived in this old neighborhood? Just to see and get close to his base. The neighborhood where he made his fortune is also the last resort. Therefore, it is necessary to ensure the safety and reliability of this place. If he stays here often, he will be able to detect any hidden dangers and troubles as soon as possible and solve them quickly to prevent minor problems from developing into incurable cancer. This is called treating the disease before it's too late, which is equivalent to a dose of vaccination every day. When the old subordinates see him here every day, they will feel at ease and continue to love him and work hard for him. And if competitors want to cause trouble, they may have to think twice before seeing him sitting in his lair. Calogero curiously asked, which is better, being loved or being feared? The Godfather replied, it is best to love and be afraid at the same time, but this state is too difficult to achieve. If you can only choose one, then I would rather have people fear me than choose people to love me, because fear lasts longer than love, and fear is more intimidating than love. However, there must be a certain degree of fear. Appropriate fear and deterrence can make subordinates loyal, but it cannot make them to hate you, which is to plant a bomb for yourself. When it comes to being loved, Sonny believes that he treats his subordinates well, but he is not too much. He cannot give too little or too much money. The most suitable important. Let your subordinates know that it is so easy to make money, and they will go out and start their own business. In short, it is to make subordinates need him without resenting him. In one sentence, it is, the way to govern is to combine kindness and power with leniency and severity. Calogero listened to the Godfather's sermons for a long time, and only half understood them. The main reason is that he has too little experience. He may be able to avoid a few pitfalls in the future, but he cannot avoid them all. He could easily be led astray if he wasn't careful, because the environment in this poor place was really harsh. Those little hooligans who have no one to teach them are simple-minded and stupid. Some of the hooligans got a few guns and selling it on the street. Because of the herd mentality, Calogero also got involved. He didn't want to stay away from this group of guys of similar age. In addition to this, he also wanted to play with guns. This is because he has seen Sonny solve problems with guns many times, but this scene was discovered by Sonny. Sonny confiscated the gun on the spot, taught the gang a lesson, and then pulled Calogero out. Sonny sternly warned Calogero, having a gun is not powerful and prestige, nor can it solve the problem. It will only bring you serious trouble. Calogero, your friends are all jerk-offs, stay away from them. Sonny has always taught Calogero that the social education is indispensable, but the more important education is in school. Only by receiving two kinds of education, you can have a better life. Don't go my way, it's not for you. This is just my life, not your template. I have no choice, but you still have options. It must be said that under Sonny's education, Calogero is still far more discerning than his peers. At least he is not racially profiled. He was in school and fell in love with a black girl. This act requires great courage, because the entire 1960s was the most intense period of the black movement. Blacks and whites were incompatible with each other. Living areas were strictly separated, and armed struggles broke out every now and then. But even so, Calogero still resisted the pressure and struck up a conversation with the black girl Jane. The two had met by chance on the bus a long time ago, and were ambiguous about each other. Faced with Calogero's active pursuit, Jane readily accepted it, and the two even made an appointment to watch a movie together at 6 o'clock tomorrow night. But just before Calogero was waiting for the date, his idiot friends started causing trouble again. Just seeing a few black guys riding past their neighborhood, they almost beat them to death. If Calogero hadn't tried his best to stop them, the black might have died. After Sonny learned about this, he once again warned Calogero to stay away from the jerk-offs. They would either die or go to jail in the future. Calogero also realizes that this group of people is dangerous, but it is still difficult to embrace loneliness. He just cares about this group of friends, so much so that although he likes the black girl, he dare not tell his friends. Now only Sonny knows about it. Sonny did not object to Calogero's association with the black girl, and also told Calogero not to care about those scum. The most important thing is Calogero's own feelings for the black girl, and the black girl's feelings for Calogero. Do whatever you think in your heart, because whenever the night falls, when you are dying, the only person who can accompany you is your partner. A man needs 3 good women in his life: lover, wife, and mother of his children. These 3 good women are like great boxers, who meet once in 10 years. Of course, they may also be the same person. If you encounter this situation, you must be careful. Maybe this black girl is the combination of 3 good women in your life. Cherishing your relationship with her can make your life smooth sailing. So how to test whether Jane is a good girl? Sonny also has a methodology called Car door testing. Sonny asked Calogero to drive his car to a date tomorrow. When he arrived at the date, he would lock the car first, then pick up Jane, and escort her into the car. Now the key point came. Pay attention to the locking condition of the driver's seat door. Next, did the other person ever think about unlocking the door for you in the car? If she didn't realize this, get rid of her immediately, which proves that she is a selfish woman. Although this is a small detail, the tip of the iceberg is enough to give a glimpse of the whole picture. Calogero was convinced after hearing this. What the Godfather said makes sense. Then he tentatively asked his father, I have a friend who wants to fall in love with a girl in black and asked me what I think. Dad, what do you think about this? Lorenzo's answer was, I am a bus driver. I can get along with friends of all races. But when it comes to marriage, it's best to find someone of the same race. A Sicilian woman. Your friend is probably a sex addict, in which case the little head will order the big head to be stupid. You should think twice before acting when you encounter problems. Through marriage and mate selection, the two fathers once again demonstrated very different handling mechanisms. The poor dad's trouble handling procedure is to follow the crowd and avoid trouble. The world is black and white. Rich dad's approach is to think independently and be suitable for yourself. The world is chaotic, one black and one white. At 6 p.m., following Sonny's strategy, Calogero drove to the date location, and Jane arrived shortly after. But before Calogero could start the test, a black man with a head injury followed him. This guy was the black man who was beaten yesterday, and he was also Jane's brother. Calogero didn't expect the black guy to say that he was beaten by Calogero yesterday. This is simply repaying kindness with hatred. If Calogero hadn't stopped them, this guy would definitely have entered the ICU. Calogero couldn't help but spit out a curse word that specifically insulted black people. In this way, his fate with Jane was ended before it even began. Calogero returned to the neighborhood in frustration and returned the car to Sonny. But his father saw all this. Lorenzo saw his son getting closer and closer to Sonny, and his blood pressure soared. Fearing that his son would be led astray by Sonny, he asked Calogero not to go to the bar again. But Calogero said, My godfather is good to me, and my godfather trusts me. I can't be ungrateful. Lorenzo corrected Calogero again. That guy will never trust anyone, and no one really respects him. Everyone is just afraid of him. My child, everything I do is for your own good. You must always remember that the greatest sorrow in life is a waste of talent. The quarrel between father and son became more and more intense. Calogero even denied the honest and hard-working way of making a living for his ancestors. After a big argument with his father, Calogero ran out of the house, but at the intersection of the street he just walked out of, Sonny and his men pressed him against the wall aggressively. Because Sonny found a bomb in the car, he asked Calogero to tell the truth about where he had been, and whether the black girl was just making it up as an excuse to plant a bomb. Calogero cried and said, I really don't know anything. I regard you as my father, so how could I harm you? Sonny was suddenly struck by these words, and let Calogero go, who collapsed. The bomb may have been planted before Calogero used the car. Calogero wanders the streets in despair. He has never gained Sonny's trust, but he still worships him wishfully. At this moment, the idiot guys found Calogero. It turned out that the black people launched a revenge today, and threw rotten eggs on their territory. The idiot guys all believed that this revenge must be avenged. They bought several boxes of Molotov cocktails, and prepared to set off fireworks in the black area. Calogero sat in their stolen car and watched them smoking and shouting without any sense of safety. He was afraid that they would all go to see God before they even reached the black community. Calogero was so scared that he wanted to quit, but he was afraid that he would be laughed at. Just when he was extremely entangled, Sonny appeared. He directly dragged Calogero out of the car, and warned the idiot guys that this was the last time, and not to involve Calogero in evildoing again. Sonny explained to Calogero, It's not that I don't trust you, but ever since I stepped into the underworld, I can't trust anyone. This is the only way for me to survive. That's why I don't want you to choose a life like mine. After listening to those Sonny mentioned, Calogero could feel the horror of this lifestyle. Back at the bar, Sonny's men told Calogero that a black girl just came to see you. Calogero quickly chased after her, and it turned out that Jane's brother told the truth. Calogero was not a racist and even helped him. He was angry at the time and took Calogero as the target to vent his anger. The two of them settled their differences, and Jane became even more fond of Calogero. They first met on the street and kissed under the moonlight and fell in love. Calogero suddenly thought that Jane's brother might be in danger. The idiot guys might have arrived in the black area, and they had to rush to rescue him immediately. Calogero quickly put Jane into the car. When he went around to the driver's seat, he was ecstatic to find that Jane took the initiative to unlock the car for him. Calogero rushed all the way to the black area, but it was too late. Police cars and fire trucks blocked the streets, but there were no black casualties. On the contrary, all of his idiot friends were killed in the flames. They were all killed by black people, playing with fire and burning themselves to the point where even their own mothers could not recognize them. Seeing such a scene, Calogero's mood was extremely complicated. He was happy to save his life, but also sad for the death of his friends. Seeing Calogero, a white man, appear here, the mood of the black people gradually became agitated. Calogero had to get out of the way quickly. He was able to save his life only because Sonny stopped him. So Calogero went straight to the bar to thank his godfather for giving him the gift of rebirth. Sonny saw his godson, whom he had worked so hard for so many years, running toward him again, with a happy smile on his face. The bar was crowded and everyone was smiling, but Calogero noticed something was wrong with one person. He was not smiling at all. He stared at Sonny coldly, and took out a pistol from his arms. Calogero shouted to Sonny loudly. He was told to pay attention behind him, but the bar was too noisy and Sonny couldn't hear him. Sonny's head was shot, and his murderer was the son of the man who was killed on the street, who was about the same age as Calogero. At Sonny's funeral, many brothers from the gang came and there were too many wreaths to fill them, but no one felt sad for Sonny's death. It seemed like a normal party. This situation was very similar to what Sonny said during his lifetime. Don't care too much about others, because no one cares about you. After a while, the guests dispersed like smoke, but there was an old man who never left. It can be inferred from the aura that the uncle is not a small person, and he also wears a ring on his hand. There are only 3 Supreme Lord of the Rings in the American Mafia. The uncle said that he had known Calogero for a long time, but Calogero could not remember him. The uncle pointed to the scar on his head, and said that he was the one who was hit with the stick back then. Sonny killed him because he wanted to save him. The uncle told Calogero that this place is now under his control, and he can come to him at any time if he needs anything. Calogero thanked him for the kindness and said he would never come to the bar again. But Calogero also wants to ask the uncle a question. Was the shooting on the street that year caused by fighting for a parking space? After thinking about it, the uncle said of course not. After the uncle left, no friends came to see Sonny anymore, except Lorenzo. He wasn't here to tell Calogero to go home. He wanted to sincerely thank Sonny for saving his son's life. Lorenzo said sincerely, "Sonny, I have never hated you. I am angry with you, because you made my son grow up too fast. May the Lord be kind to your soul." Hearing this from his father said, Calogero told Sonny, "In fact, you are wrong. Fear that a person will not last forever. Loving and respecting a person will last until death. You think no one cares about you, but I will always remember your teachings." In the end, Calogero used Sonny's favorite gesture to bid farewell to his ideological godfather, bid farewell to his ignorant youth, and began to grow into a real man. A Bronx Tale is a work directed by Robert De Niro and released in 1993. This is the film debut directed by Oscar-winning actor Robert De Niro. It is a gangster story, but it is actually a boy's coming-of-age story. There is a sentence in the man's Bible, The Godfather, that says, "The fate of a person who can see through the essence of things in 1 second is different from that of a person who takes a lifetime to see through the essence of things." This ability needs to be developed as early as possible, but there are very few people who can achieve enlightenment and self-realization. Most people need to learn this necessary ability from the right people, such as parents, teachers, friends, partners, bosses, and customers. So when you choose the kind of people you associate with, how you live and how you die in this life may have already been decided. From this point of view, a very important choice in life is that you must be able to clearly understand who you should stay away from and who you should get close to. Time is limited. Don't waste it on unimportant people. Worry about the really important people. your family and valuable friends. Remembering this sentence can reduce 90% of the worries in your life. This is HKY Movies. Looking forward to meeting you in the next movie.